I prefer to be alone.
In a bustling corner of Japan, the steady flow of commuters disembarks from trains while students, filled with youthful energy, make their way to school. Amid the chatter of students, a teacher takes attendance and watches over their activities. Among the students, one's attention is captured by Shindu, who is engrossed in a tennis match while another wanders aimlessly. Nearby, a girl streams online content on her cell phone. As night falls, Yotsuya immerses himself in video games, finding temporary solace in victory. However, a photo of him and a friend triggers a sense of emptiness, driving him to scroll endlessly through his device. The following day, Yotsuya finds himself erasing the classroom board, his gaze drawn towards Shindu entering the room. His heart races. He has developed a crush on her.
She's definitely impressive.
Shindu engages in conversation with a classmate, and she notices Yotsuya stealing glances at her. However, Yotsuya's neglect for homework catches up with him, leading to a discussion with his teacher. The teacher acknowledges Yotsuya's potential as a swift runner and suggests he could have joined the track team to secure a place in an athletic high school. Yotsuya contemplates his disinterest in school, his desires hidden. He yearns to escape to gaming, dismissing the mundane school routine. Unbeknownst to others, he struggles to express his true aspirations. The teacher's counsel warns Yotsuya that he needs friends he can confide in to thrive in high school. Despite his reluctance, Yotsuya informs the teacher of his intention to choose a regular high school as his preference. The teacher departs, leaving Yotsuya alone to clean the blackboard. When he turns around, Shindu and her friend have vanished. Assigned to class duty, Yotsuya is startled by giggling from outside the classroom. Drawings manifest on the blackboard, depictions of three figures encircled by flowers. In a surreal twist, Yotsuya transforms into energy and vanishes, re-emerging in a land adorned with a clear sky and a lake inhabited by creatures. He swims to safety, encountering Shindu and her companion Hakazaki. Hakazaki introduces herself as Shindu's friend. Shindu reveals their anticipation of a peculiar character with half a face, cautioning Yotsuya to remain composed. Amid a transition to a blue-hued environment, the enigmatic half-faced man, known as the Game Master, materializes. Yotsuya grapples with panic while the Game Master imparts the rules of a game that binds them together. Assigning Yotsuya the role of a farmer, the Game Master presents a quest involving the village chef's appeal, a task to be accomplished within 14 days. The group is informed that failing this challenge leads to dire consequences, as the world becomes overrun by hostile creatures. While Shindu and Hakazaki's initial anticipation is met with disappointment, the Game Master vanishes, leaving them with their designated roles. Curiosity prompts Yotsuya to inquire about their predicament. Shindu discloses that she recruited Hakazaki as instructed by the Game Master, setting into motion a sequence of events. Their shared objective is to befriend Hakazaki and isolate themselves with Yotsuya. Progressing forward, Yotsuya stumbles upon log points, portals offering glimpses into prior interactions between Shindu and Hakazaki. Despite reminiscing about his former life, Yotsuya acknowledges the pressing danger when Shindu alerts them to a goblin's presence. Teamwork is essential as they engage the goblin,
Is that it?
with Yotsuya's weapon shattering upon impact. Shindu's spells prove ineffective, and Hakazaki's sword is out of reach. Discovering that death in this realm leads to revival after 30 seconds, Yotsuya devises a plan involving a dusty wind and his broken weapon. Nightfall prompts a map examination, revealing their explored area. Shindu offers Yotsuya a single question upon quest completion. As he fights a goblin, a chilling scream pierces the air. Yotsuya rushes to find Hakazaki grievously injured, while a colossal monster consumes Shindu. Survival instincts kick in, driving Yotsuya to rescue Hakazaki and escape. Shindu regenerates, albeit with a missing hand, a testament to the dangers they face. A meeting with the village chief propels them into a heroic narrative, as they are deemed saviors and urged to combat a menacing troll. Doubt and fear creep in as Yotsuya contemplates facing the formidable troll. He resolves to shield Hakazaki by confronting the creature himself. Yotsuya's sense of thrill and purpose override his concern for personal safety. In this extraordinary realm, danger and uncertainty reign, but the allure of the unknown eclipses the mundanity he once experienced in Tokyo. By the river's tranquil edge, the trio contemplates their academic futures and career aspirations. Yotsuya's night ventures into the jungle are fueled by a determination to rise in rank, enabling him to confront the mighty troll monster. A chance encounter with a log point unveils a conversation between Shindu and Hakazaki. Amid Shindu's confession of liking someone, a sneeze disrupts the log, leaving Yotsuya's identity a mystery. As the village shrouds itself in the beauty of night, Yotsuya admires the view from the forest. Goblin foes emerge, and Yotsuya swiftly eradicates them, save one who escapes. Regret lingers for not securing his rank's advancement to the 10th level. Monitoring his progress, he suddenly notices Hakazaki's revival, sending him into a panicked sprint back to the village, fearing the worst. An ominous scene unfolds before him, the village engulfed in flames. The weight of failure bears down as he contemplates the consequences. Could they all perish? Rushing toward the conflagration, he witnesses the village's destruction. Touching a log point, Yotsuya glimpses a sobering reality, Hakazaki's dire illness in the real world. Her struggle with being a burden to her family fuels her determination to aid others in this virtual realm. Amid this revelation, a fearsome troll monster's onslaught claims Hakazaki's life. Yotsuya's realization of his self-centeredness dawns upon him as he witnesses the tragedy. The troll's assault compels Yotsuya's flight, driven by the understanding that his demise could lead to the death of all players both in game and reality. Desperation fuels his escape, but a relentless blow propels him skyward. Faced with the possibility of death, Yotsuya revisits cherished memories, childhood days, and Hakazaki's plight. His fall ends in a stream, mitigating his landing's impact. The troll's pursuit continues, prompting Yotsuya to devise a strategy, evading the troll by changing direction mid-jump. Sensing the futility of evasion, Yotsuya progresses to confrontation. He unlocks the rank of chef by vanquishing a goblin.
Congratulations!
Gaining a newfound skill and weapons. Armed with this culinary arsenal, Yotsuya's perspective shifts. He now perceives vital organs through skin. Utilizing this insight, he pierces the troll's abdomen, causing it to eject Hakazaki and Shindu. Their revival kindles hope. Donning his new chef's attire, Yotsuya unveils his role change to his companions. Sharing his combat strategy, the trio fights relentlessly, yet the troll's resilience prevails. Amid the cycle of death and rebirth, Yotsuya discovers a vulnerable opening, exploiting the troll's fatigue and wounding its side. A coordinated assault led by Shindu culminates in the troll's demise. The game master emerges, and Yotsuya seizes the moment to query the nature of their journey's conclusion. In response, the game master unveils a chilling vision, a modern city devastated by a colossal dragon. The revelation transports them back to reality, prompting speculation about their final challenge. Their return to normalcy aligns with their departure, and Shindu's gesture of holding Yotsuya's hand resonates. Their paths diverge, with Shindu's departure and Yotsuya's promise to escort Hakazaki home safely. On their journey, Hakazaki expresses gratitude for her revival. Yotsuya's epiphany surfaces. Abandoning the quest would condemn the city he despises to destruction. As the curtain falls on their extraordinary ordeal, Yotsuya's understanding of his responsibilities and the consequences of his choices deepens. Shindu confides in her friend from her previous school about Yotsuya, but the friend knows nothing about him. Shindu's circle is an unfamiliar realm for her, having never encountered someone like Yotsuya. Meanwhile, Yotsuya trains, contemplating the ultimate goal of their journey, the potential future where they must defend a city. Amidst his thoughts, a call from the game master interrupts, unveiling the next mission. He's tasked with interacting with a specific girl, the success of which will influence their future quests. Sneaking into the school, Yotsuya intervenes when he witnesses a girl being bullied by 3 others in the bathroom. Taking action, he seizes their phones and shatters them, scaring off the bullies. He accompanies the girl, realizing she's an eccentric otaku.
Escort mission is going great!
Returning home, Yotsuya grapples with the feeling of having wasted 2 weeks of his life. Suddenly, he's transported back to the alternate world. To his surprise, the girl he saved, Yuka, is there too. The game master reappears, spinning the wheel and assigning Yuka the role of a heat wizard. Revival time extends to 40 seconds. Their quest, traverse 5% of the map and deliver goods to Reidoterbo within 40 days. As they acquaint Yuka with the game's rules, she recounts her recent experience of being labeled a pervert by her peers, a false accusation stemming from her attempt to help. The girl's left without hearing Yotsuya's side of the story. Venturing into the uncharted map, Yuka opens up about her past struggles with bullying, prompting Shindu to share her own painful memories. The camaraderie inspires Yuka, leaving her in awe of Shindu's strength. As they tread forward, a massive bug-like monster plummets from the sky behind Yotsuya. A centipede monster emerges, attacking them relentlessly. Upon revival, Yotsuya reflects on the irony of being labeled malicious for assisting others. He engages the centipede, focusing on breaking the eggs it hurls as projectiles. The monster's wrath intensifies, driving Yotsuya to climb its back. Targeting its legs, the creature transforms into a worm-like form. Seeking assistance, Yotsuya asks Hakazaki to grip his hand while wielding a sword. In the midst of battle, Shindu is flooded with haunting childhood memories, leaving her in tears. Amidst the chaos, Yotsuya inquires about her distress. Vulnerability emerges as Shindu seeks Yotsuya's support, a pivotal moment in their evolving dynamic. Shindu reveals her past, sharing how she was once a cheerful local celebrity, only to change drastically after meeting an older girl who tragically ended her life by jumping from an apartment. Left with no one to confide in about her bullying experiences, Shindu found herself the target of torment upon entering elementary school. Determined not to succumb to the same fate, she understood the importance of friends and her own agency in shaping her world. Fearful of perishing in this grim reality, she implores Yotsuya for strength and support, earnestly asking for his assistance. Their journey continues, leading them to a village they once saved, now reduced to ruins. A man atop a dinosaur informs them that he has traversed the area for 5 years, hinting at the time dilation within this world. Seeking directions to Rated Arbo, the man suggests a town named Cortonal, where a martial arts tournament offers the coveted prize of 3 horses. Determined to secure transportation, they venture into the forest to defeat goblins and rank up. However, they encounter bandits, prompting a strategic retreat to avoid rank loss. In the ensuing chaos, Shindu is captured by the bandits, splitting the group's forces. Divided into pairs, Yotsuya enters the martial arts tournament while Hakazaki and Yuka set out to rescue Shindu. Their efforts lead to their capture as well, leaving Yotsuya alone. Faced with goblins, Yotsuya slays them to raise his rank. A role change grants him the title of Creature Wizard. Armed with new skills that influence persuasion and altered stats, he competes in the tournament, meeting defeat in mere seconds. His revival sparks a conversation with Kahavel, the knight who defeated him, confirming the rumors of hero revival. Yotsuya proposes an alliance and offers his assistance in battling large monsters, promising 1 horse per troll defeated. He also reveals information about the bandits' hideout in exchange for a horse. Training under Kahavel's guidance, Yotsuya's proficiency with the sword improves. The battle-ready battalion sets its sights on the bandits' lair. In the ensuing confrontation, the bandits release a berserker from its cage, a creature empowered by consuming magic-infused flesh. Kahavel engages the berserker, wielding the powerful sword Roikesisa. As the fight unfolds, Yotsuya intervenes to shield Kahavel, only to have his weapon shattered. Desperation forces him to employ his wizard skills, distracting the monster and managing to wound it before succumbing to another attack. Kahavel, relentless in her determination, delivers a decisive blow that ends the monster's threat. Yotsuya frees his captured companions and shares his achievements, a single horse secured despite his tournament loss. Kahavel's father expresses gratitude for their assistance, and Kahavel agrees to accompany them on their journey, ensuring their safe passage and providing invaluable aid in the trials ahead. Hakazaki's aversion to physical education stemmed from her illness, and her unwavering aspiration to develop a curative drug for both herself and her mother drove her academic pursuits. Unable to afford the costly school fees, she depended on scholarships. The violence she had once deemed inconsequential now formed a critical survival skill. Arriving at their campsite as evening enveloped them, the harrowing sights they'd witnessed left Hakazaki and Shindu unable to consume their meal. The haunting images still seared Hakazaki's memory, an indelible mark that refused to fade. Despite her yearning to protect others, she felt defenseless against the horrors she'd witnessed. Keen on training them, Cable's aim was to enhance their skills, ensuring that the hero's immortality did not come at the cost of inadequacy. Her desire was simple, to revel in the act of slicing flesh. Training commenced with Yuka as Cable's first subject, her blade slicing unrelenting. Then, turning to Hakazaki, Cable sought to draw out her latent potential. Amidst the night, Yotsuya tended to a wounded soldier injured by goblins earlier. Employing accelerated metabolism, he facilitated rapid healing. Yuka voiced her frustration, perceiving the disparity in experience points gained between them due to Yotsuya's role as a chef. Yotsuya's response was pragmatic, as he acknowledged the systemic constraints they were ensnared in. Hakazaki's progress was notable, but she yearned for more experience points, an essential commodity in this world. Encountering a horde of goblins, the heroes embraced combat as a means to accumulate experience. Despite initial reluctance, Hakazaki claimed her first kill, prompting tears and remorse. Nightfall brought inquiries from Hakazaki, who sought to understand Cable's unsettling enjoyment of carnage. In a fervent explanation that startled the heroes, Cable expressed her intense satisfaction in dismembering foes. Driven by her conviction, she embarked on a nighttime patrol to eliminate goblins. Journeying onward, their cart's wheel became stuck, and despite overcoming the obstacle, a more dire sight emerged, monsters attacking an army. Yotsuya hesitated, while Hakazaki implored to aid the besieged. Choosing to act, they divided into 2 groups, Yotsuya and Hakazaki charging toward the monsters. A skirmish ensued, resulting in defeat. Hakazaki's revival turned the tide as she summoned long swords, vanquishing a monster. With the rest vanquished, Yotsuya employed his wizardry skills to heal the wounded, extracting magical essence from the monster's blood. Guided by their quest to deliver goods to Rododerbo, they stumbled upon a grim scene. The goods they transported were condemned souls, an assortment of criminals, heretics, and even a child. The revelation jolted them, triggering a cascade of questions. Were they unwittingly aiding in an execution? Were these people merely tools in a larger scheme? The ethical dilemma gnawed at them. Was their involvement a part of the quest or an opportunity to fail? The moral labyrinth they found themselves in was a testament to the complexity of their journey. Cable confronts the commanding officer, highlighting that the authority of the kingdom of Geok does not extend to the city of Rododerbo. She questions the intention of executing their own citizens on foreign soil. Despite the officer's arrogance and the tense standoff that ensues, Shindu intervenes before blades are drawn. As tensions escalate, Yotsuya calls the heroes together, asserting that the unfolding scenario is an event in the game. Their task is to deliver the goods to Rododerbo, and if this is a mandatory event, it implies that the goods they're transporting are the prisoners themselves. Yotsuya meticulously analyzes the situation, while Yuka proposes the notion of accompanying the prisoners and intervening during the execution. With the decision deferred until later, they realize the officers cannot execute the prisoners prematurely, as they require Yotsuya's healing abilities. The group rests at night, and Yotsuya arranges a meeting with one of the prisoners, Fofsel, who introduces himself as a missionary from the continent of Ala. Inquiring about the kingdom's animosity toward the Arteros religion, Fofsel explains that the nation is divided between those who worship the king alone and those who honor both king and god. This division led to prohibitions and executions of Arteros believers. Their curiosity next turns to Kamiloto, who clarifies the purpose of their journey to execute Arteros believers in Rododerbo. It's meant as a demonstration, as the continent of Ala seeks to assert dominance through the city, which serves as a gateway. Kamiloto explains that even war orphans and families affected by the war have a predetermined fate, but the current king's intervention has provided them with servants. His personal experience has fueled his loyalty to the king, and he believes eradicating the Arteros religion is vital for continental unification, no matter the cost. Yuka expresses her disdain for dictatorship and bullying tactics used by larger nations against smaller ones. This remark angers the officer, but Yotsuya intervenes before a confrontation ensues. With 12 days left to reach the city, their quest timer stands at 13 days and 20 hours. Guided by the officer, they traverse mountains through a hidden passage. The journey takes them over a mechanized bridge, during which the officer deceives them, leaving them trapped on account of their perceived sympathy for the Arteros' faith. Facing various traps, Yotsuya becomes ensnared in a ditch but is eventually rescued by Hakozaki. Progressing forward without Yotsuya, they encounter a gate guarded by a gargantuan gargoyle monster, a creation unlike any Cable has seen before. These fabricated creatures are mummified, retaining mobility through preserved fluids, even after thousands of years. Yotsuya meticulously carves the wall's edges with his kitchen knife, a process fraught with repeated falls, deaths, and revivals. He perseveres with closed eyes, honing his concentration. Eventually, he ascends, spotting a log point that replays Cable paying homage to a fallen comrade. Memories of their shared journey and unspoken farewells flood Yotsuya's mind. The monster looms closer, a crucial key dangling from its left arm. Cable charges, wielding her mighty sword, as Shindu demonstrates her adeptness at combating attacking bats. A former tennis player, Shindu quit after a disheartening loss in a tournament. In an unfortunate twist, she witnesses Cable being impaled by the monster and subsequently tumbling off a cliff. The heroes are stunned by her apparent demise. However, just before the monster delivers the finishing blow, Shindu crushes a bat underfoot, leveling up to 10. Time halts, and the enigmatic game master materializes. Presented with a spin wheel, Shindu's job role transforms into that of a warrior. As time resumes, she engages the monster at close quarters, yet its toughness defies her attempts to pierce it. The monster retaliates, fracturing her arm and nearly sending her over the precipice. Despite the setback, she recovers and recalls Cable's training, where she learned to exploit a monster's vulnerability, its heart. This technique bridged the strength gap between genders, emphasizing the significance of technique in swordsmanship. With renewed determination, she maneuvers close to the monster, slashing at her own arm to intercept its counterattack. She launches herself onto it, seizing its arm and driving her blade through its rib cage, piercing its heart from above. Meanwhile, Yotsuya advances, grappling with existential questions. He ponders his purpose and why he was chosen as a player. His thoughts orbit Shindu, Hakozaki, and Yuka. Arriving on the scene, he witnesses Shindu's victory over the monster. The dire news of Cable's fate reaches them. In a swift decision, he plunges into the water, retrieving Cable's body. She awakens within the cart, her wounds mostly healed. Yotsuya rests, fatigued from his efforts. Cable, on the verge of kissing him, is interrupted by the arrival of the other heroes. They query her motives, and she admits that her actions were impulsive, driven by a deep connection she felt with Yotsuya. Night falls, and Yotsuya rouses from sleep, struck by the realization that virtually anything could qualify as a quest completion since specific criteria remain undefined. He grasps the need to save the convicts in addition to fulfilling their other objectives. The decision is made to divide into two groups. Team A will follow the officer to rescue the personnel, while Team B focuses on finding the cargo bound for Ridoderbo village. The mystery surrounding the meaning of goods hampers their quest completion strategy. Kabul takes charge of Team A, comprising Hakazaki, Shindu, and a soldier, while Team B is led by Cable and consists of Yotsuya and Yuka. The specter of the militant kingdom exploiting any pretext to spark a war looms over them, although their own kingdom boasts a force 10 times the size of Cortonal's army. As the officer convoy approaches Ridoderbo, plans for attacking them upon halting are devised. Yotsuya's strategic acumen, honed by playing video games, proves invaluable. Calculating how to eliminate an adversary is second nature to him. The loss of senior officers has thrust a junior officer into a leadership role, altering the course of their march in unforeseen ways. Their expedition will conclude in a mere 3 days, culminating in the public execution of the prisoners on the international port of the city. Amid their preparations, Yotsuya emerges from the shadows to engage in negotiations. He underscores his invincibility due to the cycle of revival, rendering their attempts to eliminate him futile. He sets a deadline, compelling them to release the prisoners before sunrise or suffer the consequences. Employing a stratagem to sow confusion, he divides their forces into two, with one group attacking him and the other guarding the prisoners. Upon their return with Yuka as a hostage, a grim scene unfolds. The prisoners have already been killed, including the child. Their carriage is confiscated, and they are marooned in the desert, abandoned as a result of their refusal to accompany the captors and their subsequent entrapment in the dungeon. In Team B's pursuit, the search for any settlement or goods suitable for delivery proves futile. The quest has merely 4 days and 3 hours remaining for completion. It is revealed that the figures Yotsuya incinerated were actually dolls, constituting part of their elaborate plan. Seeking refuge for the night, they stumble upon a cave nestled at the base of a cliff. Approaching the wagon, Cable launches a ruthless attack on the enemies, swiftly severing both of their arms. In response to their plea for peace, Cable retorts that individuals like them, who murder her comrades, undermine any possibility of true peace. Her swift verdict is execution, beheading one of them. Word of the incident reaches the king through Cameloto, prompting the dispatch of another warrior to hunt down and eliminate the heroes. Team B, consisting of Yotsuya, Yuka, and Cable, is still grappling with the challenge of locating cargo or settlements. On their journey toward their comrades, they engage in conversation with the child that Yotsuya healed. Despite Cable's desire to confess her feelings to Yotsuya, the presence of the child deters her, and she switches topics. Yuka contemplates Cable's potential romantic interest in Yotsuya. During a break, Yuka proposes switching seats with Yotsuya, allowing the prisoners to ride the horse. Yotsuya and Cable rest in the wagon, while Yuka employs playful tactics to foster cooperation and proximity between them. At a campsite, Cable returns from a successful hunt, carrying a massive boar on her back. After a satisfying meal, Yuka encourages Cable to train with Yotsuya. Their midday battle unfolds under Yuka's watchful eyes. Following their sparring session, Cable requests training from Yuka, who playfully evades her, demonstrating peculiar behavior and mentioning a dating game. Recognizing the existence of cargo companies in this world, the trio anticipates the possibility of encountering one. An approaching individual catches their attention, and they inquire whether he transports goods bound for Ridoderbo. Having already challenged Shindu, this new companion is ready for battle. However, Shindu disarms him with a single strike. Meanwhile, as Team B camps for the night, Yotsuya and Cable are on watch duty. Cable seizes the moment to confess her gratitude for Yotsuya's assistance in avenging their fallen friends. On the other hand, Team A is making their way to the city with the cargo. Delivering the items obtained from their adversaries, they successfully complete their quest. Providing severed heads as evidence of the enemy's sinister plan, they breathe a sigh of relief and reunite with their fellow heroes in the city. In the magical world, Hakazaki roams aimlessly, still needing to fulfill the quest's mission of exploring 5% of the map. Their progress stands at 4.96% traversed, leaving a mere 0.04% to go. To expedite this final stretch, the group decides to split up. While mapping out the terrain, a soldier informs Kaval about an impending blizzard that might delay their departure. This news triggers memories for Kaval, reminding her of the close encounter with death in the dungeon and how Yotsuya came to her rescue. Amid the blizzard night, the heroes find themselves separated in different locations. Hakozaki reminisces about her journey into this world, recognizing the value of the experiences she's gained and the friendships she's formed. Despite the adverse conditions, she's determined not to give up. The remaining map coverage is a mere 0.02%, a tiny fraction that still needs traversing. Meanwhile, Shindu, or Lu, reflects on her past tasks and the time spent in this world. Her thoughts take her back to her childhood, marked by harrowing memories. She recalls her conversation with Yotsuya, where she expressed her aversion to being trapped in this world. This recollection fuels her determination, reminding her of her triumph over the monster in the dungeon. The map coverage inches closer to completion at 4.991%, and the remaining time is about 8 hours. As the blizzard intensifies, Hakozaki succumbs to the cold, rendering her limbs motionless. Yet, Yotsuya remains the sole figure in motion, faced with a mere 0.008% of the map to traverse and roughly 6 hours left in the time limit. As he pushes forward, he becomes the target of a Yeti monster's attack. Drawing his kitchen knife, he retaliates against the creature. His unique ability allows him to see the vital organs of the Yeti, enabling him to strike effectively. With the Yeti vanquished, Yotsuya is met with a heart-wrenching sight, the monster's offspring emerging. Despite this, his focus remains on the quest at hand. Driven by his childhood memories and the urgency to ensure his and his companions' survival, he acknowledges the gravity of their situation. Their lives in the real world are on the line. Frustration surges within him, and he strikes the ice beneath his foot in anger. This action sends him tumbling into a pit hole, forcing him to grapple with his own mortality as he contemplates the notion of death. During her childhood, Yuka looked up to the Magiha sisters, considering them her role models for concepts like love, friendship, courage, and hope. She believed that embodying these traits would make her an extraordinary magical girl capable of saving the world. However, amidst the blizzard, her progress is slow and she reflects on her limitations. She recalls how she sought refuge among stronger individuals and engaged in hypocrisy, putting on a facade around boys while talking negatively about them behind their backs. When confronted with a common enemy, she'd cling to her friends. Feeling trapped and in despair, she questions her ability to ever embody the ideals of a magical girl of love and hope. Meanwhile, Yotsuya awakens after being revived, realizing not everyone has perished. He recollects his fall into the pit and how he initially thought it marked his end. Now in a hidden dungeon, he begins to explore, astonished by the existence of such a place within the mountains. The map coverage is at 4.993%, with approximately 5 hours left in the time limit. Uncertain about the dungeon's extent, he pushes forward, seeking a way out. Lu, or Shindu, discovers Hakazaki's lifeless form, prompting her to move with a newfound sense of direction. The wind subsides and she spots a nearby village. She hurries toward it, hoping to find a means of transportation. Unbeknownst to her, she's running across a frozen lake. When she hears cracking sounds, she halts but falls into the icy water. As Yotsuya explores the dungeon, he finds some passages blocked, forcing him to venture onward. He encounters an earthworm, though it poses no threat. Following it, he comes across a more dangerous worm with menacing teeth.
You wanna eat me?
Yuka remains the sole survivor, traversing the map. She finds her comrades deceased, and a strange sense of relief washes over her. Longing for a reason to give up, she starts to hallucinate her role model characters. Amid this delusion, one of her role models appears and encourages her not to surrender. However, the vision disappears suddenly, leaving Yuka in tears. As she nears unconsciousness, a girl riding a cat approaches her. This magical user informs Yuka that falling would lead to her death and the demise of her comrades. She offers Yuka a ride on the flying cat, and just as time is about to expire, the quest is unexpectedly completed. All the heroes are united in a mysterious location, and time stands still as the game master emerges.
It's work.
Damn it, don't sneak up behind me like that!
They are rewarded for their accomplishment and granted one question. Yuka queries whether they are in a virtual or real world. The game master reveals that this is a parallel world, explaining the concept to the heroes. It's a reality similar to Earth but with distinct possibilities. The parallel world coexists with Earth in the same location, with everything, from people to landscapes, being real. Yotsuya is shaken by the realization that his actions caused real harm, and he trembles at the thought of burning actual humans. As the realization sinks in that Yotsuya has taken a life, he grapples with an overwhelming sense of incomprehension. His own desire for death has long lingered within him. The hero's parallel world leveling has translated into real-world benefits, yet they've kept their distance from him, the one who has actually killed. An email arrives from the game master, a reminder he can't escape. Upon opening it, he's confronted with the question of his true feelings about the act he committed. He deletes the email, pondering whether his killing was part of the design or his own decision driven by the belief it was a virtual world. Suddenly, a little girl appears in his room,
Hi there.
Who are you?
Oh, you know.
asking him to reply to her email. Is she the game master or someone from the future? She asserts that he lacks the right to ask such questions, claiming the role of game master and conversing as if it's ordinary. Those he thought of as deserving death were planning to kill innocent religious people to set an example. Moreover, they attempted to harm him and his companions. This, to him, categorizes them as undeniably evil. The girl presses him to answer her question about his feelings regarding killing. Yatsuya acknowledges that he feels it was a mistake, and he wouldn't have done it had he known the truth. She then introduces the next new player, someone he should meet. Arriving at a Chinese restaurant, he's shown a man at the end of the table, a drug dealer. A new player, Tori Keita, is set to enter and kill him. Yatsuya intervenes, effortlessly subduing the assailants.
Been tricked into coming here.
Unmasking Keita, they are confronted by their boss. The girl reappears, giving Yatsuya a magic glove, allowing him to manipulate time and defeat the boss. Amid police arrival, Yatsuya and the new players flee. However, the game master halts Yatsuya for a conversation. She questions his decision to prevent the murder and inquires again about his feelings regarding killing. Uncertain, he expresses that he doesn't know, but he knows what he needs to do to save the two brothers. Yatsuya has realized that his chances of success increase when he saves others. Reflecting on the fact that those who fall for manipulation deserve consequences, he believes humanity ought to be judged, starting with the least valuable. Meanwhile, Lou and her friends enjoy a restaurant outing. Hakozaki watches television at home. Yuka streams online with a friend, and Yatsuya remains with the game master. She challenges his tendency to stand apart and judge others, akin to anonymous online commentators. He responds, admitting he's a teenager suffering from 8th grade syndrome. He senses that he's right and others are wrong, but he acknowledges it's a form of syndrome. His fight is for the justice he believes in, an ideal he will continue to uphold.
Welcome back.